What's up, y'all? It's KB, and I love movies. Thank you for joining us this evening. If you've been here before, welcome back. If this is your first time here, welcome. Tonight, we are joined by Adam, the bearded four eyes man. I love that name. It's straight to the point, and I hope he never has a razor accident. But I'm kicking off a great night of live streams here within the BlueTuber community. So after we're done here, we have our sister Movies and Sue coming up with her weekly Q&A. She's going to be talking about the two popular things right now, which is Scream 6 and also Sunday night's Oscar ceremony. So that should be fun. Join her if you can. And then at 9:15 Eastern Standard, or Eastern Daylight Time, I should say, Bob's Blu-rays is inducting my friend and probably yours too, Tim Talks Talkies, into his Hall of Fame. I'm going to be there just because Tim is an awesome guy, and I'm starting to like this series that Bob is doing. So should be pretty fun. But without any further delay, I'm going to bring in Adam. I'm still trying to remember where I first saw you, dude. I don't know if it was 4K D-Ray with the movie battle, or if it was like it definitely wasn't Heat Street, but that was fun.
Yeah, Heat Street was definitely a good one.
Yeah. Shout out to Jagoda Blue, man. We miss you.
Yes.
We miss you. We miss Heat Street.
Yes.
Bringing out some fire, bringing out those
pieces of just fire, one right after the other.
Yeah. Anytime he cracks plastic on those things, I'm like, that's 300, 500 bucks.
But keep in mind, whenever I get something like that, I just keep it right there. I put it up on the shelf, and my buddy Roger, he's always like, "Why don't you crack that open?" I was like, "No, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna do that." You know.
So the way we normally do things here is we start with a non-movie question, then we get into the movie stuff. I always like to tell people it's a conversation, not a Q&A or interview. So, feel free to vibe, go back and forth, all that good stuff. And then we end like we do every time with the 5 questions called the 5 takes. So hopefully you're ready for it.
I hope so. Yeah, I definitely hope so.
First of all, let's check in with the chat, see who's joining us tonight. They're as important as you and I are. So as always, we have Mr. Adrian James joining us saying, hey.
Hey, Adrian.
We have Movie Hunter 2020. This man is
Movie Hunter.
Steelbook King.
That's it. Steelbook Emperor, if you will.
I know. The Overlord. We got to get you up on here. Maybe do like a 5 takes and just spend the rest of the time just showing off steelbooks, because I don't care.
That's all of it,
That's a conversation to me right there. Merha is joining us. I don't know what time it is, wherever she is. It's daylight.
Joining, yes.
One hour less, but thank you for staying up late with us.
Yes.
Movie Hunter said he's working. We'll try to stay along. Thank you. We got Emmett joining us. Hey. Hey,
it's Emmett. What's going on?
We got Tony P representing Steelbook Crew.
Going on.
What's up, Tony? We got Caprice in the house. What's going on, lady?
Caprice.
We're looking forward to that channel. I'm just letting you know. Holland is in the house. Holland Oates.
Yes. I've always loved that name. I'll always love that name. It's great.
It's great.
And throwback. I'd love it.
He joins on to it by adding Mulholland Oates. That goes far. Emmett, I'm going to come back to your question here. Just saying hello to everyone. We got Geriatric Geek in the house. How are you doing, sir?
Yes, like that. Smash that like button and subscribe, please, to yes, hey Huck, and subscribe to KB, please subscribe. Enjoy.
Appreciate that. Thank you. Huck. I had an interesting chat with Huck. He has his Tuesday morning mug show, and I'm in the chat and checking it out. Even sometimes when I'm not actually chatting, I'm just there enjoying my coffee. And I was out for breakfast yesterday while he was on. So I just hopped in the chat and told him where I was.
That's right.
Hey, can't miss the morning mug.
Nope.
We got Brother Dell joining us saying what's up. Great stream with him and Tony from Basement Blues.
Oh, yeah.
With Movie Swap. That Movie Swap is really kicking off. I really enjoy it.
Tony's just, like, I mean, you can't ask the guy enough questions. You can't ask him advice. You can't ask him for enough anything, you know. I mean, the guy, you know, I always explain to him. Now, actually, Tony does not live that far from me, and we actually talked.
I was going to ask you, North Georgia, right?
Yeah, we're about 2 hours apart, and I always told him one day, if he ever gets a chance, we should meet up for some lunch. And so he was like, yeah, and I said, then I was like, but the only way we're gonna hang out some more is if you let me come down to that museum, aka your basement, to come down to see that. I was like, but you're gonna have to red rope it off because I'm gonna want to reach over and touch stuff. And he just started laughing. And I was like, you're gonna have to rope it off like a museum. No touching, no touching.
Yeah. See with your eyes, not with your hands, like my mother used to tell me.
I told him.
Yeah, he said not a lot of people get down there, but you know, that would be fun.
Like I'm gonna be taking those like I'm gonna put the thing in my glass, take pictures, be like, that's crazy. Like, it's amazing, you know, just to see all that stuff, and I have to bring back the information to everyone else, you know. Like, the things that I saw, it was like
I know.
Like Area 51 down there, I'm sure.
And I think the real good stuff is in the other room.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I'm taking pictures with my glass. I'm like, oh, look at all that stuff.
Yeah, shout out to Tony.
He doesn't show us.
Shout out Tony. We got Nick in the house saying what's up. He is Nick. Off to bed. That truck of life is serious.
Yes,
but hopefully catch a replay.
Road truck driver, thank you for what you do. Appreciate it. If it wasn't for you guys, we wouldn't have anything.
Right. Thank you
guys so much.
Those discs would never hit your house.
Nope. That's right.
We got
double feature.
We got the doubles in the house. What's up, Mika and Kara? Joining us. People saying hello and good night. We got Sean joining us. Good evening, sir. Who else? 100. Haven't seen you in a minute. I am doing well. Hope you're doing well. What's up, Culture Trini?
What's up, Culture?
Always good to see him in the house.
That's right.
It is 1 a.m. in Finland. God bless you.
Yes.
God bless you. Thanks for saying that.
If it's cold here, it's colder there. I assure you of that.
Yep. Yes. Every time I'm in the chat, I change the name of the people watching. So one week it was the Muggles, the Mugsters. So yesterday I called them the Mug Bugs.
There you go. I like it.
Who else? Thanks everyone for checking in with us. We're just hanging out.
Yeah.
Just hanging out. We got Kenny Levels in the house.
Yes. Mid-level.
We got Bob's Blu-ray. Catch you at 9:15, sir. We got Coco Dutch. Yes, I saw your DM. It popped up right as I was talking on camera here with my phone. So yes, Monday. Yes. Boom, boom, boom. All right. I think we got everybody. If not, we'll catch you on the next go round. I want to start with my non-movie question for Adam.
Sure.
And it's funny, right before I came in, my daughter said to me, "You got a conversation?" I was like, "Yeah." And she said, she picked up a phone and she read it and she's like, DVD and vinyl collector. Oh, cool. So, you know, we mostly talk movies here, but I used to DJ, so, you know, I'm into all kinds of music. So tell us a little bit about the vinyl collection, how long you've been collecting, all that good stuff.
Yeah, great question. Appreciate it. You know, grew up having, 45s in the house. My dad vinyl. It was great. Always listening to great music from the late 60s, early 70s, all that good stuff. But of course, I grew up I was born in 80. So my mom would rock me to sleep with MTV on in the background. So I grew up with 80s music. Love that. But just became a music lover throughout the years. Grew up in the 90s, all that stuff. Most popular favorite genre would have to be the, new metal from the 90s and 2000s. If anybody listens to Sirius XM out there, it's Channel 41, it's turbo. That's all the same stuff. That's all I like. I dig stuff, but vinyl, I didn't start collecting vinyl till about 8-10 years ago. I just saw a piece there was a Deftones vinyl that was made out of like 2000, worldwide, and I saw it on there. I was like, I need that in my life. I have a player, but I need that. That was gorgeous. So that was like the thing that brought me into it again. And I still remember back in the the late 90s, my dad, or mid 90s, my dad still had a lot of his vinyl from back in the day, and he asked me one time, he was like, do you want any of these? I was like, nobody collects for all these. Who does that? Nobody wants vinyl, you know. But thinking back on it, I wish I had kept them, of course. But it's amazing the things that you find yourself coming into later in life, the nostalgia portion of your life that you want to come back to. But no, I love collecting the 60s, 70s vinyl still, because that stuff is now becoming 60, 70 years old. Those are some of my favorite pieces. I actually have I think my two favorite pieces in my collection that I have. First one would be I have a UK first pressing of Hendrix's Axis Bold as Love. That's definitely my favorite one right there. I play that. I play it. I put gloves on when I pick it up and take it off. That's. But there's just something about that album that's just so, I can just listen to it over and over and over again. I mean, Little Wing, just the beginning. I try to tell people, if that first 30 seconds of Little Wing, if you just put some headphones on, you can listen to it over and over and over. It never old. It's just, you hear something new each and every time. I have one of those, and then I have a UK first pressing with the solid blue triangle of Dark Side of the Moon, and that is this year's 50th anniversary of that album this year. So came out in 73. So for anybody who doesn't know Pink Floyd, if you're under a rock or something, you might want to go pick that up. But that's all I'm saying. I mean, just all music. I mean, there's really nothing I don't like. I pick up everything from soft rock to heavy metal to soundtracks to this, that, and the other. But no, I could listen to all types of music all day. I mean, my buddy of mine just gave me a Sade album the other day that I didn't know that I was going to enjoy so much, and I was like, look at that.
Sade, I love Sade.
Oh,
so good.
The album he gave me the album that had was Promises with Sweetest Taboo on it. That's so good. I mean, I told him the other night, I was like, you sit there, you grab a glass of whatever your favorite thing is, just sit down and just take in her voice, because there's nobody that has a voice like her. That just nobody does.
And it's a different experience than throwing on your headphones and plugging in your phone to stream a song. And the warmth, people really go off on tangents about vinyl sound, but there really is a difference between the warmth of especially you get 180 gram pressing of something. It sounds different. If your ears can't tell the difference, I am so sorry for you, but there is a difference between vinyl and streaming a song off of iTunes or Spotify or whatever. So
I mean, a good buddy of mine, he just gave me I bought one years ago, but my buddy gave me those Mobile Fidelity Sound Lab ones, those half speed ones. Those are they're just brilliant. I have the Stone Some Girls on that, and then my buddy just gave me an Abbey Road of one of those, and it just sounds so soft, and it's so nice, and everything is just so, it's like you said, it's earthen quality, very very down. I love about it.
Two things before we move on. One, you mentioned Hendrix. I always wanted that original UK pressing of Are You Experienced? It's an alternate cover, and it's just a whole bunch of women.
Oh, no, that's Ladyland, because I have
Ladyland.
I have one of those too.
I would love to get my hands on the original pressing of that. And two, and this is where we'll transition into talking movies. It's really funny because right before we came on, we were just vibing back and forth. And now you're seeing the same thing that happened to vinyl start to happen to VHS.
You bet.
You had people, the death of vinyl sucks. Why would I carry around these records when I got, 1,000 songs in my pocket kind of thing. And now we're seeing the same thing with VHS, those 50 cent, $1 VHS tapes. people are buying them brand new for $40 because they're minty and they still have the shrink wrap on it. So.
Yeah, it's a renaissance of sometimes I believe A, nostalgia, B, it would be just this people for some reason, and I don't know what it is. It's either the human condition or something like that. But we love outdated technology because, like a couple years ago, a buddy of mine didn't let me know until it was almost too late that those little iPod Nanos were going for skyrocket. You know, they were going for out the.
I threw mine out. My kids, all of them. I threw out the old ones. It's a shame.
Those things have gone up 200-300%, and you just go, why? But it's this idea sometimes that we love this outdated technology, or we look at it and go, that's where we came from. I want to go back to that because it seems a lot easier. You know, it seems a lot less complicated.
This is not a transition as you talk about outdated technology, but the majority of your collection is DVD. So with all of these advances in high definition format, of course, 4K being the biggest and most popular, even though it doesn't outsell DVD. DVD is still king in sales. Why the continued focus on DVD versus, say, you know, let me upgrade most of my collection to Blu-ray and 4Ks?
That's a great question. I think I get it a lot, and it's actually because I think there's just so many titles still to this day that have yet to make it to Blu-ray, or will never make it to Blu-ray, or 4K for that matter. It's the idea that, you know, think about this. There's thousands, if not tens of thousands of VHS titles that never even made it to DVD. So, you know, looking back on these, someone's going to go, hey, do you remember that movie? And you go, yeah, I have a copy of that. And they'll be like, they have a copy of that? And I'm like, They put it on DVD, and they go, well, I haven't seen one of Blu-ray or 4K. I'm like, it's because someone lost the rights to it years ago, or no one has the rights to it, or something along the line. There was music from a band in it that they didn't want to give the rights to, so now it's gone and no one has that. But, you know, on DVD, they brought it out one time, and you go, oh, that was a one press release. And so when you have something like that and somebody goes, oh my God, what you know, I can't believe you have one of those, and you show them, like, where would I get that? And you can't anymore. That's the whole thing with that. You know, that's the part about DVD that I like. That's why I still go out DVD scouring, you know, every day that I have off, is just due to the fact that that stuff is so hard to come by now. I mean, you know, speaking matter of factly, I mean, this was this past Tuesday. No, not this past Tuesday, but the Tuesday before. You know, I went out DVD hunting, and I ended up grabbing about 30 titles for myself. But mostly they were all titles before 2010, 2008. And, that stuff now, and I mentioned almost, pre-show there that we were talking, earlier today, for anybody who doesn't know, I have up in my closet up there, I have a still sealed copy of Bebe's Kids, for anybody who know that, the late, great Robin Harris, comedian, very, very funny. Just that movie alone came out in 2004. So next year it's going to be 20
years.
And it's one title that you don't see out in the wild very often anymore, amongst all the other ones that I have in here that someone goes, you actually found one of those? I'm like, yeah. And so I think that's what it comes down to, is scarcity, rarity, and the fact that they did make them. But now, just like the way of VHS, like the way of vinyl in the 90s, people are throwing these things away. They're just throwing them away. They're just getting rid of them. Yeah. So they end up in, I know you're old enough to know this, they're doing the Atari ET thing where they're ending up in landfills. You know what I mean? So, I mean, but that's the thing. So when you find something out in the wild, as I like to say, that's DVD related, you hold on to it like it's gold, because what if it never does come to Blu-ray? What if it never does come to 4K? Those are the things that, then you actually have a physical copy. And if it never comes to streaming, which I don't think, streaming's great and all, but it'll never have everything,
I don't trust it, because there's no way, the moment I feel like watching something, I could have every streaming service out there, that you're going to have the rights to that movie at that moment. So I don't trust it. So I totally agree with you.
Yeah.
Let's check the chat, see where we are. I saw you before. What's up, Ms. A?
What's up, Ms. A?
We got Cinema Dave joining us.
What's
Hello,
going on,
sir.
Dave? Love the beard. Love the beard in the picture. It's awesome.
So awesome. He has an awesome beard. Caprice says, I collect vinyl too. Love that. So jealous you have Deftones vinyl. That's amazing.
Oh, yeah. Appreciate it.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Movies with Ryan in the house.
Hey, Ryan.
Talking about your vinyl collection and your rears.
Mr. Ryan was my little mentor the first time I started doing some live streams. He was the one I kind of asked questions to, and I was like, how do I do this? How do I do them? So, and then, you know, like, and I always got a shout out. He was my first one I ever went to when it came to, you know, talking about doing live things with. And he, you know, I always have a soft place in my heart for Mr. Ryan there. So I do appreciate that.
Good guy. Good guy.
Yep.
We got Killer in the house. What's up, Mel?
Killer.
Merha said, what about the movie The Wall? Talking about Pink Floyd. You like it?
It's all right. It's out there.
It's different.
You know,
you might need to have some substances in you to enjoy it.
Yeah. You could probably pop and you'd be all right, you know.
Ooh, Dell has a good question. Assuming Hendrix is first, who's the second greatest guitarist of all time?
Oh my gosh, that's like, you know, it's trying to figure out what molecule of oxygen is your favorite. You know, hard to you know, pick. I don't know. It's such a great one. I mean, you can go the whole way back from the, you know, 30s, 40s up till today. I mean, you can't, you know, and to throw somebody's name. I'm not even saying that Hendrix is the number one greatest guitar for me.
I'll say it for you.
The album is great, but I mean, I could go on and on and on. I mean, you got, you know, Eddie Van Halen. You got, you know, any blues guitarist that came before anybody else. I'm just gonna throw that out there, you know. You know, and so it's for me to sit there and just say who's the greatest of all time. That's for Rolling Stone to decide, not me. You know.
If I had to answer that question, I'd say Prince, but I'm biased.
Up there.
Sade is amazing. We saw her twice in concert. Nice. Yeah. Hey, there's Tim.
Hey, thank you. Appreciate it. Hey, congratulations on being inducted into said Hall of Fame.
Nice. Thank you for joining us.
Yes, thank you.
What's up, Magic Hands?
Going on?
He knows where you are. So, Adam, are you in that Criterion closet we see the celebs go into on the Criterion?
My own Criterion closet of said rare and out of print DVDs. So it might not be. There's a few Criterions in there. I will tell you. There's a few in there.
They're probably sealed and worth more money than you think.
I don't know about all that because there's so many Criterions that have come back out on Blue, and they, you know, I wish I still had some of the rarer ones that are, you know, on D. But I look for them.
What's up? We got Walter Jones in joining us. What's up, sir?
Thank you, everybody, for joining. Appreciate it.
The other part of that question I was going to ask you is just talking movies here randomly. What would you say your percentage breakdown is between, let's exclude VHS and just say DVD, Blu-ray, 4K. How would you break it down?
97, 2 and 1.
Wow.
Like, my blue collection is like this big maybe, and then my 4K is like this. I mean, now a few of the gentlemen on here, you know, Movie Hunter, 4K, you know, my buddy Roger, you know, and so many other people have got me into some of the 4K steels, and I really like some of the artwork on those 4K steels. So I've gotten some of those. You know, I got you know, some of my favorites you're in my collection right now. The Clerks 3 one was just beautiful.
Yeah.
The Bob's Burgers one was beautiful. The Reservoir Dogs, any of the Lionsgate steels are just they're just worth their weight. I mean, you see them and they're just gorgeous. So I mean, my Ultra actually may be, you know, it actually may be 96 2 and 2, you know. So when it comes to blues and 4K, but I'm trying. A lot of the guys are, you know, getting me into these some of these ones. They're like, you should pick that one up. You should pick that one up. I'm like,
and it's hard to resist sometimes just because they look so beautiful.
Yes. I mean, every once in a while I'll be out and I'll send Movie Hunter a message like, what about this 4K? Would you what about this steel? Would you pick up this steel? And he goes, I would, and I was like, okay. And I was like, if I'm going to go to the source, I'm going to go to the source for the steals.
You're going to have to turn around and start doing that. You have my list of hard to find DVDs when you find them.
that girl six cover with her on the phone. That
Love
was,
it.
that's
it.
One of them.
Gus, what's up, my man?
What's going on, Gus?
Let's see who else. We had a couple other people jump in. I'm just gonna go down. Bebe's Kids, great movie. It is.
Yes.
I know Dell knows about Bebe's Kids. I know Nick knows about Bebe's Kids. Thank you.
Yep.
People saying hello.
Hello.
I'm gonna go back to Emmett's first question here. Do you think you'll do a movie collection battle, Adam, or not?
I've actually been on a couple, and those were fun. They were fun. And look, I always, 4K D-Ray, shout out to him so much for having such a phenomenal channel and just getting so many people involved in the community. And, God bless him for doing what he was doing there. I mean, we might have some differences of opinions on questions some nights, but looking over it as a whole, he hit a gold mine. And so when the idea of something like that, so always a big shout out to 4K. And I would do the battle. I won my very first one, but I lost 2 after that. So I was like, I'm gonna take a knee on the rest unless I ever get asked back again. I'll try to, because one time he actually had questions. He thought about doing a Snapcase battle or a something like that. And I was like,
Snap eyes.
So I love those.
Yeah, man. Shout out to D-Ray for sure. Benicio joining us.
I love that picture. That's awesome.
Okay. Movie soundtrack. Good question, Caprice. What's your favorite movie soundtrack? Combining the music and the movies here. And
I'll tell you, I mean, it may not be a soundtrack, more so it would be a score. I'm actually a score guy. I mean, maybe not a soundtrack guy, but I was, I'd say soundtrack wise, Queen of the Damned. That's just that kind of has my vibe written all over.
R.I.P.
Yes. But I was a score guy growing up. I like the scores. When it comes to a great one, of course, Jurassic Park, anything.
John Williams.
Yeah. I mean, anything John Williams, you can't go wrong. But one of my favorite ones was the Gettysburg score. The Getty from the movie. The score to that is phenomenal. I
got to check that out.
Yes. So good. Like it's symphony and everything like that. It's so good.
I was saying the other night that Elfman's '89 Batman score got me through college.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I played it constantly. It was like I had like a CD boombox, and then I had another CD player in my room, and that just stayed in the player in my room. So if I was studying or something, between the rapidy rap and everything else, I didn't want to get into the lyrics, so I would just turn on a score like that.
Oh yeah.
So it constantly stayed in my player.
Recently, I was talking with somebody at work the other day. I'm one of the more mature, employees at my job as of recently, and I mentioned something about BMG Columbia House, and I looked around.
They don't know what that is.
None of y'all know about BMG Columbia House. None of y'all know about that.
They don't know what that is.
You don't know.
Tim asks, so when you're out thrifting, how often do you dive into the vinyl? Finds that the actual thrift stores, he doesn't, because none of them are musty and moldy. Yeah. Same thing. Same thing with the VHS. A lot of them are musty and moldy as well.
Oh, there are days that I want to like just put a gun to my head, because I see the reason why I say that is because I'm out and I look for ones too, and they're always moldy and dusty. But here's one, we just mentioned this blew my mind. It was about a year and a half ago, almost 2 years ago now. I walked into a Goodwill, and on the top of the pile, I saw something, and I just went, that's pretty odd. I was like, is that real? And I picked it up, and I was like, that's real. I found an Aaliyah vinyl, and it was the vinyl that came out right after her passing in either 2000 or 2001. It's the one where she's on the front cover. It's like a kind of reddish cover like that.
Yeah.
Found it for $2. And I let somebody there was somebody in Detroit that wanted it real bad, and there was a couple extra zeros I put on the end of that, and I gotta say, as much as I love her music, I had to part with it for
Yeah.
But no, to go to Tim's question, you are right. When it comes to VHS's vinyl, you see them moldy, dusty. You see these things, and it really bugs you. Every once in a while, you find those gems. Every once in a while, you find those beauties, just like that one there. But no, it's a shame because I'll find mega rare VHSs that I'll pull them out and they'll have the mold on the tape, and you just go, oh, you
That's
just
so nasty.
bad,
That's so nasty.
That's never gonna be on DVD. That's one never gonna be on 4K. Never.
Yep. Capri says I do the same. Yeah. I do dive in the thrift store for vinyl. Most are damaged here, warped. A lot of them are warped, water damage. Yeah, record stores are the place.
Record stores are the place to go, and I will say that. And my buddy and I talk about that a lot. My buddy Brad, shout out to him. And it was that he, we always go to the record stores, but a lot of the time the people at record stores are so pretentious. They're so, they're so over the top. They're so on the note. You know what I mean? Like you go, oh, do you have a Who record? Of course you'd like the Who. I can see that. I'm like, what? Stop. No,
you don't know me. You don't know me, son.
Yeah. No, you don't be that guy.
Exactly.
Or, you ask them for something. I mean, it almost seems like you have to ask them for something that's so completely, under the radar that if you did ask them, they'd be like, oh, I can help you. Because I went to one time, I was asking for a Zombies record for this one guy. And he was like, we don't have any of those. And I was like, you didn't even check, you didn't, no.
Just because you see me in the MF Doom section doesn't mean I'm not going over prog rock next. Right. And then going to pick up the latest Taylor Swift. Leave me alone.
That's right. Yeah.
Going back to the Hendrix thing, Del says Prince is number 2 as well, but he's biased. Thank you, sir. Benicio saying smash that like button.
Like button, please.
Thank you. We'll get back into the chat comments in a minute, but you keep mentioning Roger. Are you talking 4K King Roger?
Yes, that's my buddy. That's my buddy.
He's actually the one that nominated you a while back.
I appreciate that. And that's why I figured as much. Yes, that's my buddy.
He definitely
the kids
Roger's a character, man. He's a character.
I'll tell you, the kid's got spunk. He's got heart. He's got everything that that's moving this community in the right direction. I
call him next gen. He's the next generation. Of Bluetubers, of collecting everything. But he wanted to join us. So
sure.
What's up, KB and Adam? How are you guys doing? So I did have a question here, and I recently watched RRR, which is the Oscar-winning now movie, and I really enjoyed it. So I really wanted to ask the question, what are some foreign films in your collection that you haven't seen yet, or just happen to be really out of print or hard to find? I'd love to see you point out some awesome pieces in your collection that happen to be foreign films.
It was a little hard for me to hear that one because
okay. He was saying that he just watched RRR, the Taiwanese movie musical, and he really enjoyed it, and he wanted to know some other international films that you would recommend, and if you had any in your collection to show off. We always like to see you show off stuff from your collection.
I mean,
and think about it, if you have to come back to it, just let me know.
It may be one that I would have to come back to because international is not necessarily what I go to all the time, things of that nature, but there's so many good foreign film directors, and I have to take, and I love watching movies with subtitles on them. I love, listening to something that's in its, it's an original tongue. I have to steal a quote from Mr. John Waters here, and I love him to death, is, I watch a movie that has snow in it with subtitles. I don't care. That's the thing is, I definitely love those. But yeah, for foreign films, that'd be one I would definitely have to come back to because it's a little
I don't know. I think you're being modest. I mean, you're into the Italian giallos and stuff. And that's a term a lot of people are hearing. Arrow and all these different boutique labels are putting out a lot of giallo movies, And I really don't think everybody knows what that means. And, they're not familiar with Argento and Bava and all that.
Oh,
So
yeah.
explain the genre and give like a little starter kit for those that don't know. I think that'll be helpful.
I mean, and I've always pronounced it Gallo. Like I always pronounced Giallo. I always thought it was Gallo. But those are very, they were films from like I want to say almost late 60s throughout the 70s and the 80s that were foreign flicks that had to do with like almost like murder mysteries, but they had like kind of like loads of ultra violence in them, and kind of in that subgenre. There's one up in my case up here called the Case of the Scorpion's Tail. You can think about all the ones from What Happened to Solange, all these. There's so many of them out there that you could start with. Don't Torture a Duckling. You could go on and on and on. So it's a subgenre of thrillers and psychological horrors and things like that was from that time. But it's Deep Red. I mean, if you're going to start somewhere, start with Deep Red. It's starting from the beginning. You want to start with Deep Red, Argento, and all those guys that had of course that's a genre that I started with. I still love it to this day. But it's there's so many from that era, and just go back to some of the. I try to tell people, go back to some of the original Anchor Bay releases from the early 2000s and have a lot of.
If you could find it.
Yeah. That were from there. They put a lot out if you can find them. But Arrow's doing a great job, and some of these other boutique labels are ones that are out there. But take a stab at those. I mean, Fulci. Yeah. I mean, just anything. Now with Fulci, you're not going to get a lot of good. You're not going to get a lot of scripts. You're not going to get a lot of good dialogue. But what you are going to get is a lot of violence. You're going to get a lot of, kind of over the top, substance, if you will. Mm-hmm. I mean, some of the best, horror scenes I've ever seen are from Fulci films and Argento films. And I mean, I can't, is Suspiria Giallo? Is it? It's not. It's a horror, but but it has those kind of little elements from it here and there. Mm-hmm. With the colors being sounds and the sounds being color, like there's all different kinds of things there. So yeah, if you are going to go back, that's a subgenre I would most certainly check out if you're a fan of foreign films, because you'll get your fill there for sure.
Yeah, and that Goblin score, talking about great scores.
I have the Dawn of the Dead soundtrack. I have the one that was done by Goblin. Italian version of it back over there somewhere.
Yeah, that's a nice way to watch a movie too, with the Goblin soundtrack as an alternative.
Yeah, it's so good. I mean, that's a people still copy their stuff to this day. Mm-hmm. They do.
They were here in Kansas City a few months ago. They showed Suspiria on the screen, and they played live. They did a live accompaniment.
That's phenomenal. And I will tell you this: I'm one of those. I'm sort of a traditionalist. I won't see the remake. I just kind of refuse to. I mean, maybe it's good. Maybe that's what I mean. Like that's what happened, because that's what happened with me with Evil Dead. That's what happened with Dawn of the Dead. That's what happened with Texas Chainsaw for me. Like I'm a traditionalist, so I kind of stick to the original stuff. Now I'll venture out and I'll look at the remakes, or I'll look at I don't want to call them remakes. They're reboots, if you will. You know. But the
retellings,
yes, retellings. The Taking Liberties versions, but but those, some of their soundtracks, they're so good, and the Italians did it best in the 70s. I'll tell you that much. I know that.
Yeah, let's run through some chat highlights here quickly. Haka saying,
thank you.
Your battles. Yep.
I appreciate it. Not a lot of people appreciated some of the ones and Huck, he actually,
it's a popularity contest.
He messaged right away, and he was like, dude, those picks. And he was like, I liked every one that you picked. And I was like, I appreciate it. It's still, because those of us, I'm a score whore. I dig it. Thank you.
Walter has a good question. genre blind spot if you have any.
Action movies. I'm not an action movie person at all.
Really?
Don't know.
Growing up in the 90s, you didn't get into action movies?
It almost bothered me right away because it almost bothered me right away because I was just like, once I saw RoboCop and I was like, okay, and then I saw Total Recall and I was like, okay, and I was like, it was like a bastardized version of all those every movie, like it just wasn't an action guy, like it just I kind of looked, I was like, oh, cars driving fast, cars exploding, buildings exploding, okay, where's the story, where's the, I was like, I get it, but that's 110% is action movies. Anytime somebody brings those up, I'm like, and moving on. Like,
wow.
That's it. Yeah.
Talking about the scores and the soundtracks.
Yeah.
What's up, Cody?
What's up, Cody? Always appreciate it.
Trying to get him up on the conversation. I was supposed to be first before Bob. That's all I'm saying.
Trying to get that like button. You betcha.
Yes, sir. Adrian, I have the Guardians of the Galaxy. That's a damn good soundtrack.
I have that on vinyl. It's such a good vinyl.
Funny, totally related, but went shopping yesterday. I think I was telling you earlier, and we're in the car and just playing a random playlist, and it was like 70s and disco stuff. My wife likes that. Yeah. And Rubber Band Man by the Spinners came on.
Nice.
And immediately 2 pieces of nostalgia hit me hard. One, all of a sudden I was 7 years old with my ear next to my AM radio, just jamming out to that song. And then immediately I started thinking about Star-Lord in Infinity War, that scene where they introduce the Guardians in the movie and they're all jamming out to it on the ship. And I'm like, damn, this is a great song. I love that song.
I love it. I'll Be Around, like my favorite one of theirs. I mean, that played.
Good choice.
I worked at a pool store and it played a lot of easy listening stuff. And every time that one came on, I was always like, what is this? Like, I was putting my hand, I was like, I love that. And that's a great song right there. That's
it is. But Rubber Band Man is just fun. Talking about the BMG days, how many times? And Columbia House. Look at
it. Some of the old school folks jumping in here, man. I'm telling you.
My friend's dad had an apartment building, and we would just pick different apartments.
Yes, you got it.
I'll admit it. I'll admit it.
That's how you got 48, 58, 60 CDs at a time.
Yep. Queen of the Dam. Yeah. Akasha walks into the bar with System playing. Love that scene.
It's funny she mentioned System right before I came in, because I went to the store. I was playing on the in the car there, and so it's a great System song.
Yep. Have that Queen of the Dam soundtrack, record store day release, bought at MSRP.
Yes.
Yeah, it's $300. Most of those record store days, the ones that sell out quickly, they just jack up the price immediately.
You know which one that blew my mind the other day, and I'm going back to 90s stuff right here, and this is just me being in 10th grade again. Just as soon as I saw it, I was like, I gotta buy that. Was the Wallflowers Bringing Down the Horse album, like the From One Headline, 6th Avenue Heartache, Three Marlene.
Haven't heard that one in a while.
Right. And it came out on vinyl a few years ago as the 20th anniversary release, which made me feel old too. And then, so I bought it for like $40, brand new. I was like, okay, cool. Went and looked it up again the other day. Used copies of that are selling for $150, $160. Ooh. Like, oh my God, because it was the only time they put it on vinyl. So, you sit there and go, oh my God.
Wow.
Jacob Dylan's son, $160 an album. What are you gonna do?
Right.
Bob Dylan's son, Jacob Dylan.
All I know is I will now say Gallo.
Yeah, that's what I always thought it was. I always thought it was. Hey,
it works either way. Yeah. Deep Red is a good one, indeed. I don't know, people, especially with our releasing all the Argentos, pretty much, people are like kind of glom into different ones, whether it's Deep Red or Suspiria or Tenebrae or whatever it is. So Deep Red, pretty damn good, and partial to Inferno. See?
Yeah, there you go. I mean, you gotta,
We love both the original and the remake. I have to separate it to partially enjoy it, and that ending is just bananas.
What?
Dell likes it better. It's all how I'm going to say this on my 90s list video for Tim. It's all about age and nostalgia. If you catch things afterwards, it's going to hit you different than someone who probably saw it in the theater or saw it when they were a teenager, those formative years. So your 90s list will look completely different from mine because you're in your teens. I'm in my 20s. It hits different.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that Goblin score is legendary.
I mean, why? Of course it is.
Violet says no action movies. That is a hot take.
Yeah, it's just not my gig. I would rather watch 1,000 documentaries over an action movie. I'm not action, because we were in one night. Everybody was talking fast movies. I'm just sitting there twiddling my thumbs. I'm like, I haven't seen any of them. I don't care. Like, I just don't care.
And talking about hot takes, this is a good time to transition. Are you ready for the 5 takes?
Of course.
Been waiting for this one. All right. So, as we always start, number 1, name the film that made you fall in love with the movies.
It's fun. I'm glad you grabbed that one because I saw that on one of your on the other takes there. The couple that I was watching on one of the couples, and he had that. I was like, man, I really hope he grabs that one because when I was 8 years old, I had a surgery on my neck, and it was right over Halloween. So I didn't get to go to one of my Halloween, kind of parades, if you will, when I was a little kid. But up on the screen, my mom was there with me. She fell asleep, and but Uppa was on there. And after I woke up after my surgery, because it was over Halloween, and I started watching, I was just taken aback by how creepy it was, but how cool it was at the same time. And I have to show you the 50th anniversary collector's adult fan set of Night of the Living Dead. This is
FYE. Is that the FYE? Yes, the FYE exclusive. I love that.
The sealed version of this. I got 2 of them to be exact, and so this right here is what made me fall in love with cinema, is just knowing that there was this story of these people that just got, trapped in this house, and just, and the things that were happening to them. And don't get me wrong, I'm sure that I saw a goodly amount of Disney before that, but film, was this, and I look back on it, I would go, man, there's so much of me that just goes back to that, sitting in that bedroom just staring up at that little TV up in the corner. Back in the 80s there was only that little square, and I'm sitting there just staring at it. But when you stare at it long enough, it becomes bigger and bigger and bigger, and you see, you're watching that movie up there in the corner, and you see that, and but just the idea of, like, when you're a little kid, I'm like, oh my god, these people are eating people. That's so weird. Like that, it was just it was just crazy. But that was definitely one that that kind of drew me into film.
That's a lot of people's introduction to zombies or something zombie related.
Oh yeah, and I've become a hey, Movies and Sue.
What's up, Sue? Join her Q&A after we're done here. Switch over to Sue's channel.
Yes.
Number 2, not the, but name 5 of your favorite films.
Oh goodness, I had this list with 4K Lowdown. Shout out to him too.
Second cousin David.
Yes, 100%. I mean, sure, drink with him anytime. He's from California, but I told him, I was like, buddy, you come to Georgia, you got a place to stay. 100%.
Yes, sir.
We kind of went through this list. He told me to pick your top 5, and I think I'm going to try to go back through these with him. 1 and 2 is a toss-up. 1 and 2 is definitely, they switch places all the time, but original Dawn of the Dead, original Evil Dead. Those 2 are the ones that kind of get me. I can sit there and watch them 24/7, 365. It doesn't matter. They're great. Those 2 are 1 and 2 subjectively. The original Godfather.
Nice.
About that. There's something about that I watched it the first time, and it got me so hooked. It was just good. I was just like, I was so like focused. I was like, this is so good. Princess Bride. I know that may be a funny one to a lot of people, but that's definitely definitely up in there for me, for sure, without question. I'm trying to think of the fifth one that I used with him.
Or
But
just something random.
I'll be honest with you, and I love documentaries. I love them a lot, or I love like the one man shows. And I'm such a huge fan, and I know it may sound weird, but I'm such a huge fan of John Waters. I just think he's just brilliant. And there's this documentary that he has called "This Filthy World," and it's just about his take on cinema and how he grew up and these things that he did. And I love listening to him and going through it. And it's a really great documentary. If anybody ever gets a chance to see it, it's every once in a while it'll pop up on YouTube. If you're a John Waters fan, you got to check it out. It's just a one-man show, but it's one of those ones I pop in my DVD player every now and again when I just sit there and just want to listen to somebody just regale about their whole, catalog and stuff like that. They just talk about it and just have stories, that and the other. And it's just good stuff. But yeah, it's always very hard for me to pick a top five because I could go through, comedy, I could go through horror, I could go through, so like I said, Suspiria is up there, Suspiria way up there, the original, Zombies up there, Fulci Zombies way up there. I've watched that 1,000 times. I've watched, so much of that genre is up there when it comes to top of the top, so it was even for Dave's thing, it was very tough for me to pick a top five, but I knew that Dawn and Evil Dead were going to be up there for sure.
Cool. All right. Everyone's favorite question. Number 3.
Oh.
Name a classic movie everybody loves, you can't stand.
Oh, good Lord. I'll be honest. One night and for multiple nights thereafter, I got to be honest. I tried to put in Citizen Kane. Couldn't do it. I mean, it's number 1 on AFI's best movies of all time. Tried to sit there and I was like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to watch it. And then like 10 minutes in, like, oh God. And don't get me wrong. I love black and white films. I love them to death. I can sit there and watch a black and white film, all day, every day. It doesn't matter. But I was just like, I can't. And then again, it may be a generational thing. It may be this, that, and the other. But I was just so
Age and nostalgia. Age and nostalgia.
No.
You know what? It took me, I watched it for years, TCM, had the DVD. When I upgraded to the Blu-ray, they included a commentary from my favorite movie critic of all time, the late Roger Ebert.
Yeah.
And just to hear, it was almost like he was sitting next to me.
Oh, that's dope.
just like giving me a running commentary on what I'm looking at. And that helped me appreciate it. Also the time, the story, I think if we were younger and lived through the days of that news mogul that it was pretty much about, we would have better appreciation for it, because just like yesterday, Tarantino announced that
the movie critic,
and everyone is saying that it might be about Pauline Kael. Now, I know about Pauline Kael, thank you, film school, but I don't think people who grew up in the 80s and the 90s and so forth knows who she is. She was a female film critic. And if you have any inkling of what the workplace was in the 70s and the 60s, you would understand it was pretty intimidating for a woman to state her opinion on anything, including the arts. And I mean, she had her own bouts with Nixon and homophobia and all this stuff, but at the same time, just to focus on someone or someone like her would be pretty interesting as far as a movie. So you have to understand the time in which it's happening.
Oh yeah.
Number 4, let's flip that. Name a critically hated movie, and if you love horror, there's a lot of one. That a critically hated movie that you love.
Goodness gracious, I would probably say, I mean, I don't know, because I don't look back on it, on some of those the critically hated ones, because I don't really go back and do Rotten Tomatoes. I don't look back those days. I'm sure the original Evil Dead was not looked on fondly just due to the lack of budget and this that and the other. So there's a good chance that one might not have been looked on so fondly. So I would say that, and or oh goodness, looking back on a critically hated movie that you loved. God, so it's just tough. It's tough to look. There's just so many out there. It's hard for me to say which ones that. I mean, I'm sure some of the exploitation genre that I really really dig. Up there, that Ilsa collection that's up in the corner, and tons of my Something Weird films that I really like. There are ones that are out there that people would just be like, dude, I wouldn't throw a dime at that. I'm like, I put that in all the time just to watch it. Those are the kind that I really, really like. And, some of those very much panned horror movies from the day. I mean, if the new Dawn of the Dead was kind of, I know Zack Snyder's they were like,
I liked it.
I did too, but I was like, it was good. I mean, that to me, that was a good reboot. So when the reboots happen, but
there's so many movies that when they first came out, they might have been not critically acclaimed, but they gain a cult following over the years, or they got released to video and then people started paying attention to it. And I don't just mean like things like Evil Dead. I mean like classics like All About Eve, and which is kind of funny because it won so many Oscars that year. But
I mean, I mean, it is. You could probably go back through the decades and find each and every one of those ones where you would sit there and look at it and go, I mean, was really look at it. It's funny that a coworker of mine, young coworker, 20 years old, he's got a little YouTube channel too, and he's asking me about movies that funny enough, he came to me and he said, I really like stuff that people might find offensive nowadays, but I love older title. And I went, hold on, number one, have you ever seen Blazing Saddles?
Blazing Saddles.
He goes, no. And I go, oh my God,
go watch it.
I was like, you are going to fall out of your pants or fall out of your seat pissing yourself because your laugh is already. It's like, this is the stuff that they got away with in the 70s and things like that. I mean, of course, Mel Brooks has always been pretty, acclaimed here.
Risque,
and risque, but he's been pretty acclaimed. But at the end of the day, I mean, somebody might look at that now for the Gen Zs and go, "Oh, I'm so offended." I'm like, you can't be, because that's not the time that it was made in. You got to go back and put yourself in. And
we always say all those 80s sex comedies can never be made today.
Oh, that's what I talked about. I talked about one night with Movie Hunter. We were talking about that. I said things like Porky's, Revenge of the Nerds, Meatballs, all these ones, they can never be made. I mean, you just can't. Screwballs, all these ones that were back in the day. You couldn't remake any of these because of the misogyny, the sexism, the this, that, and the other. I mean, you can go down the line, but it was a subject of its time. Like I saw a guy walk through my store the other day, and I wish I could have stopped him because he was like young. He was like 20, and he didn't really. I could have stopped him, and I would have said this to him, and he would have been like, "What are you even talking about?" Because he would have not known. But I really wanted to stop him and be like, you look like every bully from every 80s high school movie ever.
He had that look.
Like, the look. You can just
yeah.
Whatever the first draft in your head is right now for anybody who's watching, don't alter it in the least. It was
that's what he looked like.
On head, the Letterman jacket, the like I was like, you look like every bully from every 80s ever.
I was like, he either has a Letterman jacket or a dirty, dingy denim jacket. One or the other.
Yeah, like old, and he probably been like, whatever, old man. Like, I was like, all right. It made me laugh in my own head. You know what I mean? So
let's run through some of these chat comments before we finish it up with number 5. Movie Hunter has a question. What's at the top of your bucket list?
Oh my gosh. Goodness.
Individual title. What's your white whale that you can't find?
Oh God. Just there's I mean, for all intents and purposes, I had a copy one time, a still sealed copy, and I sold it. But to ever find it again would be a original, still sealed Anchor Bay pressing of The Midnight Hour, the movie that was made on TV with Sherry Belafonte. Just the one that I think I look doing all my research. I think they might have done an original, maybe 20 to 25,000 pressing of that across the country. So it's almost impossible to find, but that's still a bucket list one. You know,
you have one of mine, and it's in the top left corner of your shelf. And you could probably look at it right now and just say it.
Hold on. I brought some out. You know, I brought some out because you said top left corner was this it?
Yes.
The Ross edition of the Sleepaway Camp that was recalled. Yeah. And it's still sealed. It's never been opened. Yeah, but yeah. And I don't know if anybody knows this, and if anybody's watched any of my other live streams with anybody, this is the major reason why it was recalled, because the Red Cross took offense to them using the Red Cross on their cover and said, you need to get rid of that immediately. So Anchor decided to ditch it and went to another cover. So, but that was one of the ones that I liked. I have a bunch of the top shelf ones sitting right there in case anybody wanted to ask, you know.
I just have to throw that out because I knew he would love that.
Yes.
The other one, and you might come across this in your hunts, it's the Twilight Time DVD copy of Stormy Weather, because it's never been released past that. There's rumors of them having a Blu-ray. I've never seen it. But if you ever heard of the Nicholas brothers and their famous staircase dance, Fred Astaire once called it the greatest dance scene ever.
Oh.
You could YouTube it. Just look up Nicholas Brothers staircase dance.
Okay.
And it's from the end of that movie.
Oh, so, yeah. I'll definitely.
Stormy Weather.
That's another one. Twilight Time is one for anybody who's watching. Turner fan, what is up?
What's up, man?
That's my dude right there. I'm gonna be doing potentially a collaboration pretty soon with Mr. Turner fan. So everybody look out for that. I'm not going to give any details away, but that's coming up. But no, you're right. When it comes to, some of those ones, it's very unique. You know, you see those things and you just go, I want to look at those. I want to check those out, but I understand people who don't vibe with. Yeah, no, I agree with Del and I agree with Huck on these ones. These are all just ones that you kind of, you look at and you kind of go, maybe it doesn't vibe with me because, again, like you mentioned, it's a time frame thing, or it's an age thing, or it's a it's a nostalgia thing, one way or the other.
Mank, that was a one-time watch for me. It's about Joseph Mankiewicz writing the script for Citizen Kane. Wells and the studio basically just hold this guy up in a hotel and had him with an assistant, and he was just writing and drinking. What's up, J. Rick?
Oh, what's good?
Last comment here. He says, so funny to see people say they wouldn't make Blazing Saddles today, but the reality is they totally would, because it's an absolute takedown of racism, especially in Hollywood.
I think you could. I think you could really make I think someone could really put it. If they were bright enough, they were smart enough, and they were on point enough to put it on its ear and make it like a anti film. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
It would have to be
it would be more nuanced.
Yes.
Instead of like the straight up parody that Blazing Saddles was. Just like and thank you for those of you still hanging out. I know a lot of people are hopping over to Sue's at 7:00 or 8:00. But All Quiet on the Western Front, the one that just won a couple of Oscars, all that stuff, that's supposed to be like an anti-war film. And the thing about it is, you got these kids, they're all gung-ho to get in the fight at the beginning, and they're like shell-shocked by the end. And it's like, you're supposed to take the lesson from that. But, put that in the 70s and we get the Deer Hunter.
Yeah.
it's blatant. It's in your face. So it's not as nuanced. Today we find the nuanced ways of having those messages in the movies. It's true. Yeah, he definitely hit the nail on the head for that one. Very true, Dale. Yes, thanks to everyone still in the chat. Appreciate you all.
They couldn't do Airplane again either. You know, I think another one.
The jokes. The jokes.
Jokes are like this, and if you don't catch, I mean, Airplane's one of those ones you have to watch
over and
after
over.
a second shift where you've come home and you're deliriously tired, and you just watch it and you just laugh at everything that comes through. You know.
Yeah. So we're gonna wrap this up with number 5.
Sure.
Which is my favorite question. Who would you like to see me have a conversation with?
Oh gosh.
On this channel.
I mean,
it's always great. It's like the question that serves the next episode.
I mean, and you think of all the people that, you know, I mean, Roger, you know, he initiated me to this. And if you haven't, I mean, I could pick 1,000 people and there's no favorites here. And it just, again, there's everybody. I love everybody in this community. I love everybody's take on things. There's not a single person that I would exclude from said conversation. But I just think, you know, one of the people that have been constant in the streams with me, and if I go live and I talk, definitely Movie Hunter. You know, definitely got to get Movie Hunter up on here. He's just, you know, one of the things we've sat there and had so many anti-movie conversations just about nostalgia and life and arcades and this, that, and the other. And, you know, just, you know, of course we can sit there and talk movies for forever, but, you know, some of the things that, you know, just life experiences and this, that, and the other. But I think that would be my, you know, that would be one to you might throw a few questions at him that I never even thought to ask. So, you know, that'd be a great one there for sure.
Yo, Movie Hunter, if you're still in here, man, doors open. You have an open invite. Just tell me when. And like I said, we could vibe about movies. We could vibe about life. We could do it on a Friday night and just go however long. And you could just show off some of your collection because I know you're humble about that stuff.
Oh,
but,
yeah.
You know.
Somebody's like, you know, I don't want to say anything.
Let me show you this limited kimchi DVD.
And of course, Ryan, you know, I can't not Ryan. I mean, just talk with Ryan for 10 minutes. You'd be like, I'll be like, which I've done. He just tells me about stuff, and I'm just like, oh, it's awesome. You know, I just sit there and just have, you know, these questions, you know.
That's my boy. I love Ryan. We're gonna
get
together soon. Once the weather continues to get a little warmer, we're gonna find somewhere to do some hunting. Try to get Bob down from up north, and maybe get. Do you know Nathan Jones? Specifically, Blu-rays with Nathan Jones.
I know. Man, we might have had a conversation or two, but that's, you know, about it. You know,
yeah, we're gonna try to get some people together and just hit the road and go hunting together. That'll be fun.
Yeah, I mean, and a big cheers to anybody and everybody out here in the community. I can't thank enough for always just sending me a like, sending me a shout out, you know, sending me a, you know, just a question here or there. Like, I was out movie hunting and I saw this. What do you think about that one? Or is it worth anything? And I'm like, yeah, you know, I appreciate that. It's always humbling for somebody to, you know, send me a question that said, I was like, oh, I saw something. What would you grab that? I'm like, yeah, you know, it's nice to know, because I'm a dinosaur in this field, and, you know, and I take you know, pride in that, because there's so many people that, you know, see something, they'll go, oh man, I thought of you when I was out at the flea. I saw, like, you know, a whole thing.
I saw True Lies on DVD. I thought
I heard of. You probably would have went and had a field day with all that stuff, you know.
Yeah.
And that is true. You know, there's so much, you know, just there's so many titles out there. I could only, you know, begin to scratch the surface of ones that I could tell people, hey, if you find this out, if you find that out, you know, grab that, because, you know, they are bringing them out on Blu-ray and 4K and things like that. But I don't know, there's still just an experience of finding a first pressing of something, you know, out there, which I dig, you know, because, you know, when you find something that, you know, came out 20 years ago, like, you know, for those young bucks and young people in the chat, you know, DVDs can start to come out in 97. Some of you might not even been born yet. You know, the fact is that's when they came out, you know. So
It's nice to still be able to say, hey, I got this title. You may not have heard of it because it's not on Blu-ray, it's not on 4K, but it's a really good, movie. It's a really good title.
100%. I mean, there's so many of them. I think, again, I'm sure it is on Blue at this point, but I mean, I think one of the coolest covers that I've ever seen of any horror movie, like I said, just sitting there. I love this Beyond cover, this tin, from Fulci, this limited edition Anchor Bay tin, just things that they don't make anymore. It's a tin, it's numbered, it's the whole shebang. Like I love things like so colorful, so just off the wall, just I love things like that. They don't make, because when they went to Blu-ray, they don't make stuff like that anymore. They just make it.
Packaging got lazy when Blu-rays and 4Ks came around.
That's what I mean. Packaging got lazy. Look at this. You could sit there. Evil Dead 2. It even, people always ask me, does it still scream? Hold on. It does still scream. You can kind of hear
all these years later.
All these years later, it does still scream. So yeah. So it's it's one of those things. And for anybody in the chat, please, if you ever have any questions, any concerns about anything that DVD related or any rare out of print title related stuff, please hit me up on Instagram under bearded4eyesman. I'm trying so hard eventually maybe to start a channel. Everybody says you gotta start a channel.
Do it. We need content. That's all it is. The more people out there. I was telling this who was I talking to earlier? I was telling someone this earlier, saying the more content we have out there, the more voices. And this is a niche market, so it's like you think, there's all these big people out there, they don't need to hear what I have to say. You bring a unique voice. Your collection is unique to things that are out there. And it's not going anywhere. Like Benicio just mentioned, Terrifier 2 has a VHS. Umbrella Entertainment just released the This Is Art collection, and it comes with a VHS of Terrifier. So, things like VHS and DVD is still popular.
I'll tell you, some of Umbrella stuff that they're putting out, somebody turned me on to them. I grabbed I have up there the Wrong Turn that was made out of 400 worldwide. I have a still sealed of that up there. I just pre-ordered the Mad Monster Party from Umbrella that has all the extras with it. The one I'm looking forward to. Yeah, that's right. With the gas
cannons. I remember that.
But some of those old the packaging is what again what really got me. But that Umbrella stuff, they're putting out some really cool titles. But the one that Tony and I have been talking about, the one that I'm looking forward to now, it was pushed back until June. It'll come out in June. Is the Zavvi exclusive to 1,000 pieces, that Fifth Element 4K, that big box set that's going to come out. I'm looking forward to that one.
They should call that the Big Bada Boom edition.
Yeah. I explained it to my wife. I was like, "There's like this much stuff that comes with it. It's going to come in a pallet. I swear."
I feel you, Del.
Yes.
You passed on a gas can. Well, man, I want to thank you for hanging out with us tonight, joining the conversation.
I can't thank you enough. I appreciate the opportunity to just hang with you and talk. We got to do it again.
And we could always vibe on IG. I'm always up, especially these days. I'm laid up. So, if you're ever out or you're just coming back from hunting, you just want to show me some of the stuff you got, I'm always 4 eyes away. So
that's right. Yeah, I'm always up for conversation. And
same here.
And the little one's going to bed there. But yeah, the thing is, again, anybody, including yourself, hit me up. Appreciate it under bearded4eyesman. Just hit me up for any questions, concerns, anything like that you may have about old school titles, things that that you may find out and about. But again, can't thank you enough for having me. I appreciate that. Looking for maybe another episode there in the future. Appreciate that. And for everybody in the chat, thank you so much for being here. Definitely subscribe, hit that like button, and
Yep.
thank you guys again so much for just even having me. I appreciate that.
Movie Hunter, hit me up on IG. Let's chat.
Right. Go Movie Hunter, go.
Let's chat. Let's make it happen in April. All right, everyone.
Thank you,
Do
guys.
a follow train over to Sue's. Catch her Q&A at 9:15 Eastern. We have Bob's Blu-rays inducting our friend Tim Talks Talkies into his Hall of Fame. That should be fun. Thank you for joining us tonight. And as I always say,